It's time for Making a Living with Maggie Mistel, one of the nation's best-known career coaches. Ready to soul search, research, and job search into your ideal career? Career Happy Hour starts now.
Hi, and welcome to Making a Living with Maggie. I'm Maggie Mistel, excited to be with you talking about careers and top career podcasts for 2023. That's right. I'm excited to say that Making a Living with Maggie was named to Mac Pritchard's Mac's list of top career podcasts. And this is the 6th year that this podcast has been on that list. And I am grateful for the support, and we'll include a list to all of the podcasts so you can see them in the show notes. Also, I put the finishing touches on a new newsletter, which includes a special discount. So I thought I should mention that here because it's for a graduation gift pack. So if you really want to help a high school or college graduate, consider purchasing this special package, which includes my Soul Search workbook, an individual 1-hour coaching session with me, and a custom signed copy of my book, Are You Ready to Love Your Job? So this package is being offered a discount through May 31st. Check out the link in the show notes for more information. And if you want to just purchase a copy of the book or a signed copy of the book, I'm happy to also do that for your special graduate. Coming up in this episode, lots more great stuff. I'm excited to share my recent interview with one of only 50 master resume writers who have crafted more than 2,000 career stories. That's right, Jackie Barrett Poindexter will be here to share how she helps her clients land their dream jobs. You won't want to miss her resume do's and don'ts. And before we get into that, I want to highlight how important it is to come from the heart if you want it to work. I have a mug from a theater in New York City that has that very message, and it's not just a cliche. A participant in my recent mastermind series shared an interesting article from Success Magazine titled, Go Straight for the Joy and Follow Your Purpose. And a link to my new mastermind series starting this month can also be found in the show notes. So that's a side note. So we got some mastermind stuff coming up, but I wanted to share this interesting take from this article, and it shows you the fun things that come out of these mastermind programs. The Success article made an important point that the keys to the kingdom have changed hands. And because of that, different careers are going to be successful as we move forward. The quote comes from Daniel Pink's book, A Whole New Mind, Why Right-Brainers Will Rule the Future. Here's what he said, quote, the last few decades have belonged to a certain kind of person with a certain kind of mind. Computer programmers who could crank code, lawyers who could craft contracts, MBAs who could crunch numbers. But the keys to the kingdom are changing hands. The future belongs to a very different kind of person with a very different kind of mind. Creators and empathizers, pattern recognizers, and meaning makers. These people, artists, inventors, designers, storytellers, caregivers, consolers, big picture thinkers, will now reap society's richest rewards and share its greatest joys. Unquote. What does this mean for you? It means that it's time to listen to your heart, right? And your right brain, which is where your creativity is. And it's time to follow what makes your heart sing. It's time to make that a career priority. Make your creativity and creations a priority. It's not just something you do someday or you wait until you win the lottery to do. No, the time is now. How do I know? Well, sad news. I gotta be honest. Many people are passing and leaving life on earth. One recent, and I'm still in shock, sudden passing was that of Steve Zangel at 52 years old. And Steve was a fellow Villanova grad. And he was a few years older than me, but through a common connection, I got to meet Steve. Great guy, big personality. Everybody loves Steve. Lots of fun, just a kind, generous person too. And Steve found out I was a career coach a few years after that. And he came to meet with me to share his career dreams and plans. And I was so impressed by his thoughtfulness and the fact that he took his heart and what his heart really wanted to do into consideration. And guess what? Steve followed his plans. And I'm just so grateful. And he's such an inspiration. And I just want his life and his memory to live on. I wanted to share some components from his obituary so that you can be inspired to really make your dreams a priority. So here it is about Steve Zangel. He had a doctorate in education, and Steve spent many years teaching and in administration and was beloved by his students. His true passion was born 10 years ago as he founded his own cigar company. This was prompted by his part-time work at a cigar store in Hampton, Virginia, where he was an assistant coach at Hampton University. Steve brought the company through ups and downs, reimagining and learning as he went until he became well known and loved in that industry as well. Steve's motto was meeting new people, having fun, helping others. And his vision was to change the world one cigar at a time. Steve loved how sitting together over a cigar for a few hours relaxed people and allowed free thinking and talking, listening to others' opinions and learning, which he felt the world was lacking these days. Steve founded a nonprofit as well that gives money back to families of fallen police and firefighters. And I'm going to include a link in the show notes to his Los Caídos Foundation, formerly known as Life of a Ride Time, so that Steve's legacy can carry on. Giving back meant the world to Steve, and he was the first person at your door when you needed something. Steve loved people, and he loved connecting them together. Steve leaves behind his twin boys, Chris and Will, and his wife of 22 years, Lori. Steve was someone who never followed the norms or rules, and his funeral will be as unique as he was. So, in honor of Steve Zangel and many others who have gone before us, following their dreams and supporting you and following your heart, coming up today, I'm going to share a tip from my book on how to change your mind so you can change the outcome of your own career. We often feel limited into rules or norms, when the truth is we, like Steve, can create our ideal careers. Right? We just need to have the right mindset. And this month's career tip will show you how. With that being said, I want to welcome you into this world where you get to live from the heart, where you get to choose your career based on what makes your heart sing, and let the beauty unfold just like it did in Steve's life into impacting so many in such a positive way. God bless you, brother, in heaven. Thank you, and have a cigar up there for me, buddy. Coming up next, my interview with Chief Career Writer Jackie Barrett Poindexter. Stay tuned for more right here on Making a Living with Maggie. Are you ready for a new job or career, but your inner critic is stopping you? Ready to do something beyond the 9-to-5 grind where you can build on your existing skills and talents, grow exponentially, and have greater impact from the heart? Well, if you'd like to feel the support of a group of people going through the same transition, my Summer Mastermind program is for you. With 3 consecutive monthly 75-minute group coaching sessions, my Mastermind group coaching program will support you with the proper career success mindset so you can make a great living in these unprecedented times. Mastermind group sessions will take place in May, June, and July on the following topics: uncovering your authentic story, developing an abundance mindset, expanding your network and your possibilities. Sign up now at maggiemistel.com. A link will also be in the show notes. Don't miss this chance to connect with others in the same boat and get the mindset support you need to move beyond fear and doubt to do work you love. I want to welcome Jackie Barrett Poindexter, President and CEO of CareerTrend.net. Jackie calls herself a chief career writer and is one of only 50 master resume writers who have crafted more than 2,000 career stories. Her clients include CEOs and multinationals, as well as startup executives on to their next adventure. Labeled shy in kindergarten, Jackie won several essay and poetry contests in high school. She started her career as a corporate writer, including writing marketing and copy for individuals and small business and writing resumes. She was approached by Career Trend to manage their resume clientele after an ad that she wrote caught their attention. Jackie loved the interesting stories she got to tell through resumes, including that of a CIA agent turned private sector lawyer. Jackie purchased Career Trend in 1998, grew it to a thriving resume writing business, and has since been loving being her own boss, doing her work from the sunny shores of the Texas Gulf Coast. Jackie helps her clients land their dream jobs, I love that, and loves their glee when they first read what she's written about them. Welcome, Jackie.
Well, thank you for having me, Maggie. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I love your introduction.
Well, thank you, right? Isn't it wonderful? I think everybody should just have their introduction like that or bio read to them once a day. It just makes you feel so good to hear that's my story. Well, and you did such a beautiful job sending me your bio because you wrote it as your story, just like you do for your clients. And I thought that was really cool. So I wanted to share that so people could really know you walk the talk for yourself too. Today, we got to talk about resumes. There's a lot of people who are making career change for various reasons. So the resume is still something they need, right, to do that. What does a resume need to look like, Jackie, in order to help land a person's dream job? Is it one size fits all, or is there a formula to it? What do you suggest?
There is not one size fits all. Everything has to be very custom on that. So kind of the parameters, keep in mind that you're not telling your whole kitchen sink story. So to land your dream job, really understand what that dream job is. What are the qualifications? What are the aspects that you love about it? So not just what they're looking for. You can look up several position descriptions of that dream job, and you might get something that's written like a tome. It maybe have so much detail about what they're looking for. But really, if in that case, kind of shrink it down and say, what are the key areas that I map to on my dream job and why this appeals to me, and then start sorting through your stories that matter to those areas. But also keep in mind, one of the key elements of any story is to keep it concise but detailed. So let's say, and I don't worry about whether you're entry level or CEO, but certainly with the executive level that I work at, I say 3 to 4 pages so that you can build in context of your story, the nuance of who you are, how you solve problems, but not just how you solve problems, but how you influence people to get on board, and also how you overcome adversity. So even when you've done everything right as a leader or as an influencer or as just a task-oriented person executing, when something still doesn't go right, and how you overcome that or backtrack or start over. So a lot of people get so caught up on the outcome that they don't feed the nuance of who they are. So I'll kind of stop there because there's a lot more that could be dug up and to describe what that means. But those are key elements if you want to, get to your dream job, is building a more contextual story.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you go into that much detail with people, because the resume does need to tell the story. And I think that, that's what makes it compelling, right? We love stories and we learn through them, and you can learn about a person through the story that their resume tells. So I think that's a neat way to look at it. Do you have any tips for helping people tell the story of their soul through that resume?
So it kind of dovetails into what I was just talking about, to tell the story of their soul. So this is kind of a business answer to, because when you're telling your soul part of your story. For example, you might be someone who has worked in a company who has been through a lot of shakeups, and that's happening a lot right now. But maybe you've had to be a part of the turnaround of that, of a portion of that company, or your little piece of it, or your department. And maybe your soul, maybe you have this desire to continue doing some of the aspects of that because you're good at it. You're good at, seeing big picture, or you're good at parachuting into the smaller detail. Either way, those are great skills. But maybe your soul doesn't want to keep on that path of working with a company that maybe is suffering so, or is struggling so. Maybe you're ready to say, I want to go into a company that's a little more leveled out, but that still still have issues. Every company has issues, or they just have opportunities for growth. And so you can use those skills that your soul and your mind and, your abilities all map to, and then think about telling a story that shows how you can leverage those skills for opportunity versus being labeled as a turnaround strategist. It's kind of a backdoor way of answering your question, but it's just something I've been thinking about, because I have a lot of clients who have these skills that they've used. And if they're going to try to make a transformation in their journey, which often they are, and I think you probably work with that, then they have to make a turn. And so if they just tell the same story, they might get in the same situation. So I don't know if that answers it.
Yeah, it does, actually. I think that's a really good point to bring up too, because people don't know how to do that, right? And you just described, you can still talk about how you did that work, but position it as in this new context, or right, that you don't get kind of pigeonholed. That's always a concern people have with their resumes as well. Given your years of experience, Jackie, what are some common resume do's and don'ts?
Yeah. So I find that they've been consistent even for the the years I've been in this industry. And sometimes I assume people know, but I realize they don't. I had a C-level executive and come to me the other day and still was asking, oh, should it be more than 2 pages? I'm afraid of going. And the thing is that page length rule for many years has not been there. It may have been way, way back when, but people scroll through resumes and digital content. The point is not to drown them in mundane. The point is to make sure that first section, that first page above the fold, that when they open it on their screen or on their phone, that it pops and that they can skim and see the essence of your focus. So don't get tied down in these limiting rules and let that paralyze you. Also, don't just talk about responsibilities. I think people know there's been a lot of education on that to talk about achievements, but it's really easy when you think, well, I'm going to tell a bit about the context to make it sound mundane. And start getting into responsibilities. Well, I want to make sure they knew I oversaw this team or that team, and then all of the people in it. And I want to get these key words in here. And don't do that. Focus on story first and focus of, what their needs are. And then when you can build in a few more phrases, intuitively, you will have the right language in there and the right keywords if you're focused. And I think that's so don't get bogged down in these rules of keywords and page length and all of that, but do build out a story and then start carving the story tighter after that if it gets a little bit leggy. Yeah,
because people do get caught up in that, and it's almost like the mechanics, right? They get caught up in the mechanics of it, and you're like, okay, but what's your story? And they're like, what do you mean my story, right? Like that's where the real interesting stuff is. And I like the intuitive approach that you're like the right words will come through that even match better when you tell the right story. It'll automatically be there. I'd love to hear an example of someone whose story you're able to tell and how that worked out for them.
Okay. So this one, I think that I decided to share is really about someone in the event planning industry, a leader in that industry. And what was really exciting was she was very vivacious and very creative and had a lot of ideas and deployed a lot of programs, but she was feeling a little stuck and felt in the culture. Maybe the culture was a little bit stagnant, stayed, they weren't as open and agile to ideas. And so it was really important for her to land in this next role that she envisioned, that more about the culture, or the culture would feed the job to bloom. So she was staying kind of in the same arena, but it would be focused and allow her to bloom. And what she told me was that she landed her dream job in the right organization with the right company. And that was a target that is not always easy to get into the company you want. And that what was a great value add was that because of the process we went through of unfolding that and really refining her story, was that she realized these were roles, the roles she didn't want to talk to. So she was able to avoid and preserve her energy and say no to interviews. That's not always easy, because you want to practice interviewing, or you want to, bird in the hand, think, well, if I don't go to that interview, I may not have another interview. So, but she was able to be selective and then land where she needed and keep that energy going for that next opportunity that she was and she got it. They do say that the hearing the story reflected back, that I would hire me type of response. But I mean, but it's also about being genuine.
They are. Like, wow, I'm that good. Wow, I didn't even know that.
They get so used to doing what they do.
Yeah, and we all do. We get caught up. Yeah, just the doing. We don't really take that step back and look at what our story even is, or know that we can direct our story. and I love that client who was able to have the clarity and then was able to stay focused and know what was right. Because I do think things drain us. I love the way you said that. She was able to conserve her energy for what was most important to her. Resume writing has evolved, I'm sure, in the time that you've been working in the industry. And one area is AI. How is that affecting resume writing? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm still learning myself. And I did a little studying on it in the last few weeks, and I haven't just jumped fully on the bandwagon, but it is pretty easy to sign up. And so I was looking at using the ChatGPT tool, and I do think it's a good tool for people writing their own resume, people like myself, helping people, with their resume stories. For example, you can go in and start having a conversation on ChatGPT, maybe plug in, let's say the resume. Okay, so you're writing the resume and you're jotting some things down about your most recent role. Maybe that's the most relevant role. And you just do a brain dump, and you did have a whole bunch of material, maybe hundreds of words, several hundred words, and you're not even sure if it makes sense. So you put it into ChatGPT, and then you can ask it to summarize it. And maybe just look at the summary and say, am I kind of going the right direction? This is a critical point I didn't put in, or this kind of gives the high points, a nice framework. But that aspect of it to me is just kind of a framework. And then from there, it kind of will take out some of the nuance, at least in my brief experience researching it. And so you definitely need a good writer or to write it yourself, to write with, build it back up. But another piece you can use it for is, if you have the resume done and you're in job search and you're looking, you get a job description or an opening that you see on LinkedIn, and you say, I'm kind of interested, I think I'm qualified, but kind of to verify that, you probably will know without ChatGPT, but you could try it. You could put in your resume or copy and paste most of your resume, and then say, ask ChatGPT to compare it to this posting, and then paste in that posting. At least that's what I'm finding works. And it will actually give you an assessment. I did that with my own resume. I did part of my resume. My resume that I have recently updated, which had been years in the coming, but it was my role as, owner of the Career Trend. So I put that piece in, and then I put a blogging position in, and it said, I was somewhat qualified. But then I added the rest of my resume, which talks about my professional blogging positions, like with Glassdoor and Lever and different places, and added that and did the full resume and asked if I was qualified, and it said I was exceptionally qualified because it was a blogging role.
You've expanded your work, and now you're doing custom poetry via your Etsy shop, and you recently placed top 3 out of 500 entries in a short story contest, Jackie. So I love this. Your words are expanding in in the creative space. So tell us about that and where people can find out more about you and all your work, both resumes and poetry.
Okay. So, my resume work, which is my foundational work, is on careertrend.net. And then you can find me on all the social channels, LinkedIn at Master Resume Writer, and then others. The poetry, I'm on Etsy at JBP Micro Poetry, but I also have my own standalone site called Island Metamorphosis, kind of a mouthful, but anyway, that I brought in my micro poetry there. That is kind of in the infancy stage. I've been writing micro poetry for probably 12 years, and now I'm kind of playing with it to see how I can use it otherwise. The short story was actually probably one of my most exciting little feats, because in college, I studied writing, a bachelor's in writing with a journalism minor, and creative writing has always been a passion, and I'm able to bring that into my storytelling for careers. But I always say, a resume is a short story. So I joined this contest, and I hadn't written a fiction short story in years. So it was kind of a private little a private little opportunity to see if I could place. And the fact that I placed, they had three places at the top, and then you had, door prizes, and I won the third, and I was very pleased. It was just fun. But I think it helps kind of underpin my confidence, because I want to continue to use that storytelling in my career stories. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of creative people who are very open to that kind of more creative side. So,
Jackie, you have a gift. It's real. And I love that you're exploring your passion. I can't tell you how many clients, they're more corporate, obviously, coming to me too, right? But then you find out that their soul and their dream is to be a novelist, or their talent is creative writing, but they haven't really incorporated that into their day job. And I'm like, why not? Like, this is what you need to do. And I just think it's beautiful the way you're weaving things together. And I can't thank you enough for sharing your insights.
Thank you.
Now that we've heard from Jackie, it's time for your career tip. This one is about changing your mind and changing the outcome. To start, please fill in this blank. I can't achieve my ideal career because... I'm sure you have many answers, believable ones too. However, the reality is quite simple. All you need to do is change your mind. I can remember watching the Beijing Olympic Games along with most of the world, and became moved by the comments made by U.S. swimmer Jason Lezak after his miraculous final leg in the 4x100 freestyle relay. At the turn of a 2-lap race, he could see his opponent was a full body length ahead, a big lead in a sprint. He commented that his first reaction was, "I'll never catch him." But then something amazing happened. Jason changed his mind and said to himself, "That's ridiculous. This is the Olympics." He thought he could win. It was with that thought that Jason swam a full 1.5 seconds faster than ever before. He not only caught the leader, but also surpassed him and captured the gold for America. Jason not only furthered his dream that day, but also contributed to Michael Phelps' record 8 gold medals in a single Olympiad. Jason would later say he was just tired of losing. Maybe you are tired of thinking you can't change your career. We may not all be competing on the Olympic level, but what if we changed our minds and started to believe winning or even finding our ideal career is possible? So as you start to believe you can change your outcome. Here are a few ways to work on changing your mind to change the outcome. Don't settle, think ideal. During the soul search, don't settle on what you think might be complacent with thoughts like, "That's fine, it's better than what I have now." No, think of what would be ideal for you. Ask for the world. Many people seem to doubt the ideal is even possible. It is more than possible if you change your mind about it. Next, establish an abundance mindset, not scarcity. Many of my clients start to limit themselves. They start to think such opportunities or possibilities are not available to them. So for this, I want you to take out a piece of paper and I want you to write, "Anything is possible if I put my mind to it." And anytime you feel you're limiting yourself, go back to this page and read what you wrote. Lastly, catch yourself, then correct yourself. Most people doubt themselves more often than they believe. I was recently working with a writer when I noticed his comments on Twitter. "Writing a book is not easy." After I called him out, he changed his mind and wrote a new tweet. "Made progress today. The book is a step closer to being completed. That's good news." Which attitude will help him achieve his goal of publishing his book? Okay, so now you're ready to change your mind and change the outcome for your career to be the best. To hear more tips like this, check out previous episodes of Making a Living with Maggie and purchase my book, Are You Ready to Love Your Job? Make a great living through soul search, research, and job search. Available on Amazon, where it ranked as a #1 new release in job search. Well, I'm sorry to say that we've run out of time. Thanks for joining again. I'll be back next month. Here's a quote to keep you inspired from Carmine Gallo, author of best-selling books, The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs and The Innovation Secrets of Steve Jobs. Here it is. What makes your heart sing? There's a saying, don't die with your music still inside you. Steve Jobs passed away with a heart full of song and made the world a better place because of it. What makes your heart sing? If you don't take the time to think about the answer, really think about it, you may never know the joy and success that you are truly capable of achieving. Passion is everything. Thanks for listening. I'm Maggie Mistel, your career coach, inspiring you to make a great living.
To understand more about how Maggie can help with your individual career needs and goals, contact her at MaggieMistel.com or Facebook.com/Making a Living with Maggie Mistel. Together, we can all make a great living. Great living.